Hello, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Harridges, here with Arnold Barboza Jr. He's the WBO super lightweight international champion. Arnold, how you doing, my man?
Man, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. A few topics I wanted to talk to you about. I was kind of going through your bio a little bit, and something that really got me interested was that you started training at 5 years old. What got you started off at 5 years old?
To be honest, I used to play soccer when I was little, and then I remember I wasn't too good at it, and at the time I know my dad, he's always been into boxing, but he was a professional kickboxer, and he used to train at the gym. And I remember we were watching fights one time, and I remember I told him that's what I wanted to do, and he's like told me, man, are you crazy? Like, because I remember I tried to hit the ball one time in soccer, and I fell and hit my head. I started crying. And he goes, man, if you cry when you play soccer, you can cry when they hit you in the face. And then I went to the gym, man, and just fell in love with it, man. And here we are.
Was there, I mean, the fact that your father was a kickboxer, I'm assuming that he was also a huge fan of boxing to kind of have that idea to take you in the gym.
Oh yeah. To be honest, my dad was a kickboxer, but like when he fought, he boxed a lot, man. That's what he did. And it was crazy because he would fight like in smoker fights, and I was fighting the same cards as him. So it was kind of cool, man. I remember one time, because they ran out of kids for me to fight, so one time I remember I fought a kickboxer kid. He was throwing kicks at me, and I was just boxing him. I wasn't throwing kicks. So I was pretty cool. We got to find all these videos, man. We have them on VHS somewhere in my dad's garage, so we got to find them.
I was going to ask you, I mean, the whole smoker scene is so interesting. I mean, which it really goes back a long way. I remember reading about Mike Tyson talking about smoker fights that he was in as a teenager. But I mean, you were like fighting smokers between like the ages of 6 and 9. What were you scared when those things were occurring? What was it like?
Nah, man, that was normal to me. Like I knew about USA boxing, like legit USA like boxing because of my sister. My sister was also a boxer. She trained at the South Amani boxing gym with Ben Lira. So like I was familiar with it, but the smoker fights were normal to me, man. Like, people betting on me and people betting and doing their thing. It was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. I fought smoker fights from like 5.5 to about 8 years old. And once I turned 8, that's when my pops took me to South Alani, and started training me there, made me legit, but I already had like 25 smoker fights under my belt, before I fought USA boxing. Yeah.
What's the atmosphere of a smoker like? What is it kind of to describe the scene a little bit?
Man, it's crazy. Like you have people yelling and, with money in their hand, man, just like you picture it. That's how it is. It was crazy, man. I remember, you seen you'll see some fighters there sometimes too, man. Like I remember Maramero Paez was there one time. Chicanito Hernandez was there, one time, met them, and it was a crazy atmosphere, man. It was cool. I remember with my dad, he would be like main events sometimes, and I remember when he would fight, he fought these big old dudes, right? I remember this big old guy, like a bodybuilder looking dude. And I remember I was scared for my dad, so I went in the restroom and like prayed for him, because I was scared, and came out and my dad has knocked him out, so it was pretty cool.
That's a trip. So fighting was obviously in the family bloodline from a very young age with you. And I read you go throughout the years. You're a successful amateur, and then there's that gap between the ages of like 13 and 19. You kind of fell out of love with boxing and fell in love with it again. What kind of took you out of it, and what brought you back?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I fell out of boxing, when I got to high school. Well, a little before high school, like my 8th grade, 7th grade year. And that's only because, I was pushed so hard to it through my dad, you know what I mean? Like, cause he gave up his career and just focused on me, you know what I mean? So I had no childhood. I remember, getting up at 5 a.m. as a kid and running, and then, getting home, eating a waffle, showering, and then going to school, getting out, doing your homework, and then going to the gym. And then by the time you're out of the gym, since my dad used to train other kids, we used to get out extra late. So I get home like around 6:37. Then it was just time to shower, go to sleep, and do it again all over, So, to me, boxing is not for kids, man. You got, you're 8 years old and you're dieting, you're trying to make weight, so it kind of, I got tired of it, man. I got tired of it, and I just, I stopped, and after high school, I used to kind of, fight a lot on the street, on high school, and then when I got out of high school, I was like, man, what am I gonna do? I don't like school. Like, what am I gonna do? I don't want to work in a warehouse, because I was working at a warehouse at the time, and I was like, man, fuck it, I like to fight. I'm gonna go back to boxing, because I don't want to, you know, say I put in so much work through all the years. I don't want to just be like, oh, you know, what if I could have did it? You know what I mean? What if I could have done it? You know? And so I just said, you know what? I'll just do it. You know, I'll have like 5 fights and then I'll stop, you know? And then 5 fights came and I won. And then it was like, all right, maybe 8, you know, 8 came, I won. And I was like, maybe until I lose, you know, and I haven't lost. So it's been, you know, it's been good.
I got to ask this. So you come back to boxing, but you were a football player. You're playing fullback and linebacker, 210 pounds. How do you make it down to super lightweight?
Man, I don't even want to think about it. It gets me tired just thinking about it, you know, because, you know, my dad, you know, I remember when I first came back because I would go to the gym and I would be mad, right? Like I would be mad from school or something. And I used to go to the boxing gym to lift weights because they had like weights there. So I would go there to lift weights and I remember there'll be times where I'll just be mad and I'll be like, oh, Dad, let me spar somebody. And he'll put me with these heavyweights, right? And I'll spar and I'll do good for like 2 rounds. And then like people in the gym that didn't know who I was, they didn't even know that my dad was a trainer. They were like, oh, damn, who's this kid? You know, and then like I'll get tired after 2 rounds, they'll start beating me up, you know. But you know, when I came back, you know, I told my dad I wanted to come back and he didn't believe me. So he didn't train me for like, he didn't even get me with the mitts for like 6 months or
Wow.
7 months. You know, yeah, he didn't mess with me, man. He just left me. Like he didn't care. Like if I was no one to him, and he just like was seeing I was dedicated. He seen I started losing the weight, and then I mean the muscle, because the muscle was harder losing the weight, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, I started shriveling up, you know, and dieting and doing that kind of stuff, man. And then he took me serious, and then we just started going from there.
Now, obviously, you've been very successful, undefeated. We're just a day after the 1-year anniversary of your fight with Alex Saucedo, which was an incredible fight. I remember talking to Alex right before that fight, actually, and he was super pumped. He was in great shape. Obviously, you two had a war. Unfortunately, it ended up in a career-ending injury for him. But looking back at that fight, I mean, what were some of the key takeaways that you took away from that fight, looking back at it all this time later?
You know what? I think not only myself, but you know, I had to prove to everybody that I can brawl and I can, you know, stay in there and, you know, and with someone that has pop, you know. And because every fight that I had, you know, it's always the same thing you hear from my opponents. I was like, oh, he's never been in deep waters, or oh, you know, he don't have heart, or oh, this and that, man. And I was like, man, fuck this. I gotta prove it. You know what I mean? So I could have fought. I could have boxed him the whole time. You know, I could have boxed him the whole fight. I just decided to fight the way I did. You know, I decided to want that war because of that. You know, and looking back, man, the dedication and how hungry that I still am. You know, but how hungry I was for that fight, man, and it showed, man. You know, all the sacrifice in Big Bear and you know all the training, man, the sparring, countless rounds of sparring, and you know, and to fight back to back, man, I thought it was like a month and a half turnaround. You know what I mean? Because I had just fought on August 30th, you know, so it was fast. You know, I only got a week to recover, and yeah, man, it was an amazing experience, man. I have all my respect for Saucedo. He's my brother in the ring, you know, and I know he's doing good, and I keep wishing him well.
It was an incredible fight. And as far as looking at the times between fights, I know that it was October for that fight. You just fought in August. As far as the gap in between those fights, what was the cause for kind of like the distance between them?
Because I know originally we had got offered Saucedo, but we hadn't fought in a while. You know, it was like I think it was like 8 months or something like that. And Saucedo had just fought like 2 months, you know, when they offered me the fight. And I was like, no way. You know what I mean? How you guys gonna, you know, like how they want me to fight him, you know, when I haven't fought and he's fought, you know, he's fresh, you know, like, so, you know, we decided, you know, there's no such thing as tuna fights, but we decided to get a fight in between, which Tony Lewis is not an easy fight. You know, he's made it hard for a lot of people, you know, so we decided to get that fight. And then if everything turned out well, you know, I didn't even put it this way, bro. I'm not even lying to you. I didn't even know that I was fighting Saucedo in October. My dad already had said yeah out of the fight. I didn't even know, bro. So like after my fight in August, everyone like Carl and you know and you know Aaron Bob and everyone was like, oh yeah, we'll see you October, right? I'm like, yeah, if you want me to fight. What do you mean? Yeah, you're fighting Saucedo. Oh yeah, okay. I was going to my dad and I was like, man, they said I'm fighting Saucedo in October. He's like, oh yeah, I just didn't want to tell you because you know I didn't want you to get distracted from this fight. And I'm like, oh, what the I was like, damn, all right, cool, let's do it, you know, because I wanted Saucedo too, you know, because there was some talk going on. So it was cool, man. It was pretty trippy.
You just had a very good bout against Antonio Moran. You pretty much owned the fight. I mean, you pitched for the most part, at least on one card, a shutout. Kind of looking from that fight going forward, what is it? You know, when would you like to get back in the ring, and who are some of the suspects that we could maybe see you in there against next?
You know, I wanted to get in the ring real soon. You know, I was looking at January, maybe not. But hopefully as soon as early next year. You know, I really want to fight Teofimo. You know, I had called him out before, and then, you know, there's been some jawing going on, and, you know, and I'm not the type of fighter that goes on social media or like jaws at people, but, you know, when they're calling me out, you know, like mentioning my name out their mouth, and then, you know, and I messaged his father on Instagram to try and do kind of private as possible, you know, and he didn't respond. So, and then I found out he was coming on some show that I seen. I mean, some podcast that I had came on before. So I called in and I let him know. I let him have it, you know. And those weren't words to hype up a fight or to try to get me the fight. Those were serious like words. I was really fucking pissed, you know. And you know, I'm not the type of fighter that, you know, like you've seen him and Devin Haney, you know, and face to face arguing. Like, I guarantee you ain't gonna argue with me face to face, man. I can't, you know, that's not gonna happen. You know, I will not put up with that. You know, so I'm happy that I did that over the phone, over in person. You know, me and my pops. You know, so I don't know, man. We'll see. That's the fight I really want. You know, they said January, but I think they're just blowing smoke. You know, I don't really think they want to fight me. But you know, I want the biggest fight next. You know, with whoever that may be. You know, on the top, anyone at the top of the division. You know, if I can't get Teofimo, I want a big fight. If I can't get a title shot, you know, so looking forward to that early next year.
What was the comment that, because I mean, you're, like you said, you're a guy that doesn't necessarily put all your business out on social media. What was the exact thing that Teofimo Sr. said that really got under your skin and that you felt the disrespect came from?
So I was hanging out, man, just chilling. And keep in mind, you know, I've called out Teofimo a few times back before, but it wasn't nothing like, oh, you know, I wasn't talking like, you know, disrespectful shit really. But I got a video from a friend, and it said, and it had Teofimo's dad saying like, we're gonna fight Kambosos in November, and then like he had this whole plan, right? Kambosos in November, and then Barboza in January, and then before we go to Taylor. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I seen an interview that he did with, I forgot who, and he said it's the same thing, but he said, oh yeah, and then we'll fight in January. Barboza has a tune-up fight before we fight Josh Taylor. And so that word tune-up fight, that got me mad, because I'm like, how are you gonna disrespect me, you know, when I'm at the top of my division, you know, at 140, and you know what I can bring, but you're like, you feel like you're fucking unbeatable, bro. It's you know, that shit ain't gonna fly with me, you know what I mean? Like, so that's when I got mad, you know, and I wanted to tell him, you know, I wish it would have been face to face, but you know, I tried to send him a private message, but he didn't, you know, see it or read it, so that's when I called in.
And that jump that he would be making from lightweight to super lightweight, do you think he's underestimating the difficulties that he's going to have moving up in weight?
No, I think 100%. You know, I think a lot of fighters, you know that, because I know William Silva did that. I know he used to fight at 35, and then he came to 40, and then look what happened. You know, I know I'm not comparing him to Teofimo, because obviously Teofimo, you know, is better than him, but you know, I think that he's underestimating a lot. You know, I think that since that Loma fight, he just feels like unstoppable, you know, and it's a great fight, man. You know, Teofimo, he's talented, of course, you know, but I just think that I just think he's very basic, you know. I think he's very basic, you know, and I think he comes to 140. That's a big mistake, you know. If someone can advise him, man, I wouldn't take a fight, especially with me. You know, I'm the bigger fighter, long fighter, a strong fighter, and he knows I can brawl. You know, and I'm gonna put it on him, man, and to see if he can handle it.
You're in arguably one of the toughest, if not the toughest division right now. I mean, obviously you're there. Josh Taylor sitting at the top with all the belts, Regis Prograis, Zepeda, Gervonta Davis. Out of all those guys, if you can't get Teofimo Lopez, is there like a next best thing for you that you think that you could nab him?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, a great fight would be me and Jose Ramirez. You know, I think that would be a great fight. I think me and Regis would be a great fight. You know, I think me and Pedraza would be a good fight. You know, I think any of the top guys, me and Cepeda, we're buddies, man, but we always we told each other, people, they always try to stir the pot when we're next to each other, it's like, we tell people like, hey, you know what, if the money's right and the risk is right, then yeah, let's do it. If there's a title on the line or the money's right, then yeah, of course we'll fight each other. That's we gotta eat. But any of the guys, like I said, any of the guys in the top, man, a lot of the guys in the top, I always say this, they already got their title shots, and they either lost it obviously, or they didn't win, but I'm still looking for a shot. I haven't even got a shot. I think I'm probably the only one at the top that hasn't even got a shot. That hasn't even had a chance. And I can throw examples, but I won't. But there's fighters that have fought in less and got title shots. You know what I mean? Like, I beat a fighter that someone beat that got a title shot right after that, and it was like oh, let's just see experience for him. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know, man. See what happens. I think I'm deserving of one. And I hope I get one soon.
There's a lot going on at the super lightweight division. And I have to ask your advice on it. You mentioned Cepeda before. He's got a fight coming up against Josue Vargas. How are you seeing that one playing out?
I think if Cepeda is 100%, I think he stops Vargas. I'm Vargas. I've seen like 2 fights from him, and I know he's a little shit talker himself. But he it's gonna be a good fight. He's talented as well. I mean, I remember before he started talking shit to me, I try to, I told him the truth. I said, hey man, look, you're talented, but I think you still need some time, some experience. And then he started going off, oh yeah, you suck and this and that. I was like, oh fuck that. That's what I mean. These kids nowadays, all they do is talk shit on social media, man, and but they ain't about it, So I don't know. I think Cepeda beats him either way, but I think if Cepeda's like in his like best form, I think Cepeda stops him, to be honest.
Other key matchup in the division, Gervonta Davis versus Rolly Romero. How are you seeing that one?
Man, I think Gervonta knocks him out, and I think he knocks him out within like 7 rounds, to be honest, man. That kid Rolly's funny, dude. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
There's a lot of characters right now in the super lightweight division. It kind of seems like somewhere maybe all the talk is going to eventually stir up and find something happening. But, other than those 2 fights, there's not too many others on the book. Behind the scenes, I know obviously you have a great manager. You've got a great team working behind you. Have they been, kind of throwing some of those names out, and have they been hopefully talking about a date, like a January date coming up?
Yeah. I know Cepeda, Pedraza name has been thrown out there. But it was a little too soon for us to fight. We said we would take him in January or February if he's ready, if he wants it, but I told my manager that the fight that I want is Teofimo. That's the fight I want. That's the fight I really, really want. And keep in mind, man, that I'm not, I really want to fight him. It's not like a payday, of course, and that of course, we're all trying to eat. He did the same thing when he was coming up, but of course I want a payday too, but I want to fight him. I really want to beat him. I feel like I can beat him. But like I told my manager, look, if I can't get Teofimo, then give me the biggest fight possible with any of the top 3, top 4. With Ramirez, we'll fight him in Fresno. Regis, any of the top guys, man. We're willing to fight them if I can't get a title shot or Teofimo. Then we want one of those top guys.
Well, Arnold, I know that you opened up a lot of people's eyes along the way. I know that you really got my attention when you fought Saucedo, which is one of my favorite fights. You're 26-0 for a reason. I hope to see you win there soon against one of those names. And definitely, I think you have a lot more power than people are giving you credit for. And I think you go out there and I think you can do big things, my man. So thank you for talking to me today.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. And thank you. And I'll hopefully be in this soon, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.